This podcast provides a platform for our guests to share their experiences and inspire our listeners to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams. As you listen, we invite you to explore how these concepts apply to your own story. You know what to do. Be great and be grateful. We're mic'd up with Mike DeChocho. Hey guys, today's show features the creative storyteller and author of Saving Forest Farm, a charming children's tale of two animal friends set out on a brave adventure to save their farm from a drought. Welcome to the show, movie trivia wizard, Jack Purser.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Oh man, this is awesome. We've been kind of talking a little bit off camera, a little bit on Facebook Messenger, and we realized we got a lot in common, a lot of the same movies and music that we like. You're as I mentioned in the intro there, a movie wizard, right? That's the word I used. You didn't say that, but yeah. I noticed in every bio that you had that you tagged the fact that you're really strong in movie trivia. So what I'm going to do is we're going to have some fun with that. I'm going to challenge you. Are you cool? Are you up for a challenge today?
I'm up for a challenge.
Anyone who's tuning in right now, if you're a movie buff, I think you're going to enjoy this episode because I'm going to ask 10 movie questions to Jack. And we had a little side bet going on. If he answers less than 7 correct, which would be basically a 60% or lower on the quiz, then he agreed to have a signed book of Saving Forest Farm sent to my daughter, Isabel. She's 5. She would love it. I'm planning on getting her a copy of it either way, but he's going to sign a copy and send it to her if he gets less than 7 accurate. So no pressure on that, but I think you'll have some fun with it. If you're tuning in, you guys can follow along. But before we get to the trivia part of this interview, I want everyone to know who you are a little bit more. And they can check you out at jackpurser.com. It's Jack, Purser.com. And also on Instagram and Facebook, it's Saving Forest Farm, just like you think. And Forest is Forest Farm. Again, welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here.
Great to be here.
So let's start right there. I noticed that you mentioned the inspiration for Saving Forest Farm came from a personal journey, right? It kind of mirrored a little bit of your personal journey. So can you share that story with us?
Yes. Saving Forest Farm, when it was first written, was back I'm going to say now we're in a new decade, 2 decades ago. In the mid part of the 2000s, 2004.
So it was written back then, but you didn't turn it into a children's book until a couple of years ago, about 2018?
Yes, about 2017. Started thinking about it 2017, 2018, actually putting it out there.
Yeah.
The pieces of it started in 2004. I had just went to college. Well, I've been in college. I did a community college. I was going away from my family for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
In 2004, we were about 3 hours up in the state from where I grew up, and I was like, "This is a big change for me." And we had gone about 2 months in, and a lot of life stuff started happening to me that I have never experienced all at one time. And what I was experiencing is like I had to find a new environment. I have to figure out where's my place in this new environment.
Right.
I got this goal to get a college degree and go out into the field. At the time, I wanted to be a film director, and a piece of me still wants to be.
Sure.
But then I was really strong, and I was clueless to a lot of things. And I knew where I came from. I knew where I wanted to go, but I was at a different place. So it's about 2 months into the semester. One of our projects were to create a radio serial program. And I don't know if people are familiar with it. They're making a comeback, it seems, where they get Audible and they have podcasts that do all this. But we had to sit and listen to a lot of the old 1940s and 50s radio serials and see how they were done. So one of our radio class projects was to create something like that. And so we sat down, and I was really thinking about how am I going to do this. We had a studio bay. And I started reflecting on what I was going through at the time. Mm-hmm. Away from home. I had some sick family members, had some family members pass away, and I couldn't be there. See them on the last days. My parents were having problems at home. They ended up divorcing. So it was just kind of all hit me at one time.
And you're about 18 years old at this point?
No, I was almost 21. I had did 2 years of college, but I didn't get to the real college experience at that time.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so it was really hitting me because I hadn't really dealt with these things before.
Mhm.
So I sat down. It's like my goal is I want a bright future. I want a future that is fruitful. Right now, I feel like I'm in a drought. I feel like a lot is being sucked out of me, a lot of energy. I had also been very sick over the summer. I think I had some type of it's sad to say at this point, it's very similar to what we're going through today with COVID-19, but it wasn't. It was more like a respiratory infection that turned into like pneumonia. So I had been dealing with that right
Mhm.
before going to college. So fighting energy from that standpoint and fighting energy from a mental standpoint. So started to sit down and focus on it. And as I mentioned to you, I think in one of our conversations previously, I'm a big fan of animated films, big fan of farm animals and animals in general. And I
Mhm.
started looking at my situation and I wanted to say, okay, I like these animals, and so I want them to represent what I am going through or what I want to achieve. And so the characters started popping in my head. Um, Feral Fox popped in my head, and I had a sweet mate, somebody who lived next to me. He loved modeling. He was part of the modeling agency or club on our campus, and I kind of modeled that personality from him to that character. So if you read my story, it's a Fox model. He's very flamboyant.
Mhm.
So I modeled him after that person. Gunther Go being a strong-willed person, but he's into football. I kick field goals, so I love football. So I kind of have a little bit of my personality. I just kept developing the characters off the people that I was around or the experiences I got to. But I
Very
want
cool.
to look at it from the standpoint.
Are you
Uh,
one of the characters? Is one of the main characters based on you directly?
no, I think a little bit piece of every character represents me.
Okay.
I don't
Very
really
cool.
have one character that says this is me.
Right.
I just kind of put my little piece of everybody in there.
That's cool. So the story, the things that you were experiencing, the characters in the story experience different elements of that. So it's kind of telling your story through multiple characters instead
Yes.
of it being you being the protagonist in the story.
Right.
Very cool.
So yeah, and
Okay.
different personalities, the inner conflict within I was going through is I have pieces of it that are protagonists and some are the antagonists, and it's just me
Yeah.
battling it out. Um,
Yeah. That's
part-
called life, right? When we're both our protagonists and antagonists when we get in our own head.
yeah, we're our
So
best friend and we're our worst enemy.
do you want to reveal a little bit more of the storyline of the book, or should we tell, they can find it on Amazon. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com, right?
Right.
And any other major book retailer. So, you talked about the drought, and I know I didn't have a chance to read the book yet, but again, that's the theme, that there's a drought and they have to overcome it. So can you walk us through how the story takes a turn and how they solve it? How do the
Yeah.
characters come up with a solution?
Yes. Well, there's several different characters. Like it's a farm community, and they all have different abilities, and they all have different strengths and weaknesses.
Mm.
And they have older and have wiser. They have characters. I have one character named Ralphie Rat, and he's the one that reveals. He's a visionary, so he reveals what they need to do. There's this great Trevor Turtle, and Trevor Turtle is more symbolic of the universe or the world, nature in general. It's kind of its own driving force, and only he at this point in time can grant them a wish. So it's basically,
Mm.
I'm in a drought. I want to put out there in the world what I want to accomplish or happen, and I go out there on my journey and I ask for it, and I want to see it happen. So that's their quest. So he tells them not to go to Fairfox, that they need to go talk to this Trevor Turtle, and they go on this journey to find him. And along the way, there's a pesky pig named Pasture Pig, who is the historian of the whole farm, and he only goes by what he knows. He goes by the history. He doesn't like to think about what is out there and what could be. So he's really battling with them and telling them not to go, that they shouldn't do it, and it's going to bring even more bad luck. So he's more the pessimistic person
Hmm.
with the story. And but they're strong. They're strong-willed and very brave. So they push through and they find the Trevor Turtle, and and then the pig tries to get in their way once again, and there's a little conflict there, and then of course I can't leave a story undone. The rain does come. They get their wish granted.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. And I love that. I love when children's stories obviously have an applicable story that they can learn and use in life, right? When
Yes.
there's lessons, educational lessons, and sometimes it's uh, life lessons. Really, it doesn't always have to be educational, but it could be something that's very applicable to the real world. And I love that when I'm with my daughter Isabel and we're reading a story, and you can see that the light bulb's going on, and she's really learning about how different things actually work through stories and characters. She loves turning into characters and changing her name and saying, "I'm not Isabel today. I'm, fill in the blank," and she's a different character every time I see her. Right?
Oh yeah.
I love that. And here's the deal. I can tell you're very passionate about animals. I also read that you're a vegan. Is that still currently true?
That is true. I've been a vegan on Thanksgiving Day of this year. It'll be 4 years. I started on
Awesome.
Thanksgiving Day.
Congratulations. I was about a year and a half somewhere in there, maybe close to 2 years strong as a vegan. I'm currently vegetarian.
Uh-huh.
I'm an animal rights lover and the whole animal lover myself. And, so we have that in common as well. It's very difficult. I live in Buffalo, New York, right? So it's not, when you say you don't eat chicken, right? We have buffalo or chicken wings. I call them chicken wings around here, right?
Right.
Um, it's just like it's like you're slapping someone in the face when you say you don't eat meat in Buffalo. So it's tough. I mean, and there's not a lot of options here, for healthy in general, but then to go that far healthy.
Right.
And then when it's not only about the health factor, it's about the personal connection of the fact that no part of that meal came from an animal at all. And what's kind of interesting too is I wasn't planning on taking it here, but I know that like coronavirus and multiple viruses and things are stemming from, at least it's reported, stemming from some kind of animal, some faulty situation with like, the wet meat market and stuff like that. And just made me reflect and think again, if we weren't consuming animals in any way, whether it was done properly and clean, or if it was something like a wet market, if that's true, if that's where it really came from. But a lot of disease and stuff comes from that. So that's just a whole nother reason for
Yeah.
people to investigate it and think about it that way. So you have the book that focuses on animals. You're a vegan yourself. So tell us about that. Is that something that you grew up just always loving animals? Do you have a ton of pets, or is it, more recent?
Well, I did grow up with a lot of pets.
Mhm.
My father loved dogs, and we had some cats, but mainly dogs from
Mhm.
all kinds of different types of breeds. I've had small dogs where it'd be like Boston Terriers, ranging all the way to Great Pyrenees dogs,
Mhm.
chow dogs, all kinds of stuff. So I was always around dogs growing up. We did have a few. Well, when my brother got older, he's about almost 7 years older than me, so he was kind of out of the house and doing his own thing when I was still in school, trying to figure out everything. He had like pot-bellied pigs, he had chickens, he had guineas,
Hmm.
uh, all kinds of different animals running around. I got to work in a
And you're down in Georgia?
no,
That's
I grew up in Mississippi. I'm in Mississippi right now,
okay.
but I do. My family lives in my wife and kids live in Alabama that I see.
Alabama. I'm sorry. Okay.
So in the deep South,
Yeah, deep south.
I got to work in a chicken farm one summer, and that was a different experience. We talked about how food's made. I know how the eggs and the chickens come
Yeah.
to KFC and Popeyes, but
Mhm.
yeah, I always had an affinity for animals. I haven't had an opportunity to really own any animals or have a pet since I was at home as a young kid. Um, when in Alabama, we do have some dogs around and some cats, but
Mhm.
I like farm animals that I've always liked. I like Charlotte's Web, watching it,
Yeah,
Rockadoodles. So I've always been fascinated with them, and I just think there's a good innocence to animals,
for
and
sure.
I love the feel of. Because I'm from a very small town in Mississippi, 300 people make up the town.
Wow.
There's more people in the school in the
More
town than
animals probably than people, right?
oh yeah, we had. It wouldn't be a big problem. Well, it's a problem to us, but it was not uncommon to see a cow get out of the fence or a horse and be in the
Uh-huh.
road, and you have to call the owner or get the horse or cow back into its pen
Uh-huh.
or field. That happened a lot.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty strong of you, strong-willed for you to, at this point now, 4 years being a vegan and growing up in an environment where animals were used for food or right.
Right.
Farming, typically people who come from a close family or environment of farming, they have a respect for that industry. Not saying you're disrespecting it, but
Right.
you have more of a love for the animals than the industry. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Is that true? Yeah.
Because
Right.
we can't sustain our life without eating them. And
Yeah.
now the thing is, I understand that people have different access to different things, but I can live off eating plants. I can live off eating things that are not GMO or meat.
Uh,
I have adjusted my lifestyle. I figured out that, and I know what sustains me, that I can avoid doing it. But it took me all the way to 32, 33 years old to do that. So, I
mhm.
mean, it is a big commitment to do,
Yeah.
and it's not something that actually I ever thought I would be.
Yeah.
If you had known me back in the day, growing up or in my 20s, you would say that guy's never going to become vegan. I
Right.
would I would eat huge porterhouse steaks.
Crushing burgers.
Yep, and anything with milk in it, cheese. I went to town with it, but there's
Yeah.
this one day I woke up and I was like, I really don't like it. I don't like this. I mean, I love food, but I just don't feel like it makes me feel good as a person. And
Mhm.
also, I want to be healthier. I want to be
Mhm.
a more conscious person. So when I just made that decision, I went for it, and I can't believe it's been almost 4 years and I haven't went back. I haven't been really super tempted to go back.
Yeah. Now, I know you have a wife and a beautiful family, right? I wanted to mention them because another thing in the bios that I was, when I was doing research for you, I noticed they came up, and I admire you for this. They came up every time. So whenever you were basically asked to give your bio, you always included your family and your wife and your two sons. So shout out to your lovely wife, Keela, and then your three children, Jack, Livy, and Benji, as well. So out of them, who's your biggest supporter? Do your kids admire the fact that you're a children's author?
They do, especially my little girl,
Mm,
Livy. Anything that I do, it's something that I've learned as a father and having a little girl is
yeah.
that she basically you're her first love, and she doesn't really see a whole lot of fault in you. She might get mad at you, but you're like the world to her.
Yeah.
You are her hero. So everything you do, she's really proud of.
Yeah.
I've taken her to Barnes and Noble a few times, and she's seen my book there, and
That's
her
awesome.
face just lights up, and she wants to get
How
her
old is your
picture taken.
daughter?
I'm sorry.
How old is she?
She is 4. She'll be 5. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. No, she is 5 now. She'll be
Does she
6.
recognize your name on the book?
She does.
Cursor?
Yep. She can read for her age. She just finished pre-K.
Yeah.
She's very smart. All my kids are very intelligent. Comparing them to where I was coming up.
That's how I feel too. She's like as smart as I was when I was 12 and she's 5, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So your kids, love the fact that you have this cool book out and they love seeing it at Barnes and Noble. I'm sure your wife is very proud of you as well. And I wanted to bring her into the picture too, because I know when I was vegan, I was married. And at that point it was, I highly respect the fact that my ex-wife, she was the one making all the meals, right? Because it's tricky to be vegan and make things that actually taste good and are, you're excited about diving into a meal that is going to have some flavor to it. So she was really artistic behind creating all these meals. And I know it's a production, right? To get it to go and do that 365 times out of the year, actually double that if you're talking lunch and dinner, right?
Yeah.
So is she on board? And is she, shout out again, Tequila, but is she on board with you?
Oh yeah, 100%. I have to say she's the driving force of all this.
That's
She
awesome.
was vegan before I was.
Okay.
And
There you go. The truth comes out,
it
everybody.
comes out. She's the trend starter. She's
What's the
basically
saying?
that.
Behind every great man, there's a strong woman or something along those lines.
Yes, 100%. I would even put her higher than that if I could find the words to.
Yeah.
Um, she's very talented. My wife, I can't say enough about her. She can do anything. I know a lot of people can too, but she can do anything she wants to do when she put her mind to it. I mean, she wanted to be a chef. When I met her in college, she was going to be a chef, but she decided that she didn't want that lifestyle, so she went a different route into music therapy, and then childcare. But she never gave up cooking. She's been
Yeah.
cooking for her entire life, and she cooks the most fabulous meals. I go to restaurants, and they can't even compare.
Yeah.
I was actually in California right after I became vegan, like a few months. I was there for an interview for something, and I got to go to a vegetarian house. And it was actually a vegan, all vegan food. And when I was eating there, it was great food. I never went to a restaurant. I could have a big meal. I had spaghetti, it was vegan. The bread, the butter was all vegan, and vegetables. But then they had like fried ice cream that was vegan. I've never been to a restaurant where I got to have vegan dessert. It was like
Yeah.
online. All the food that I was eating, she had made that exact same stuff for years, and I was like, wow, she could really go work in a restaurant right now and
Yeah.
blow the roof off everything. But yeah, she's really good at everything. She researches a lot of stuff, reads what works, what doesn't work. She loves to experiment.
Do you guys do everything home cooked, or are you do you sign up for any kind of monthly service where you get some vegan meals sent to you?
She was
That
doing
always helps out too, having some meal prep.
she was a part of some subscription. I think it was like 20 something dollars a month. Some recipes she got, but then she got so good at it with her experiment.
Oh,
She started going her own route, and we never run out of anything. We always have something
Yeah.
new every day.
It's just nice to give her a break too, so she's not cooking every day, right?
Yeah, and then she's about to finish up her nursing school, so she decided to go to be a nurse a few years. Like, this will be her second complete year. So.
So you're spending a lot of time now. Obviously, we're in quarantine as we record this interview, so you're both spending time with your family. But when she's doing that, are you able to work from home and keep things going that way?
Yeah, so far she's been in Alabama, and I've been here in Mississippi working at Mississippi State University, and I've only got to see them before the quarantine stuff. I only got to see them like every weekend. I would work.
Wow.
I'll stay here, and then I'll drive home on the weekends to visit them. I've done that.
I didn't know you were commuting.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
The last 2 years.
Okay.
But her deal is like, I will help support you get through nursing school, and then when you're done, I'm coming home and I'm going to take your place to get you going in your career. So,
tag, you're it, right? That's the ultimate tag team.
He's been very supportive of me and everything that I wanted to do career-wise, and it's my turn to return the favor, and I get to you really can't make up time. I try to make up the time that I didn't get having my kids. Right now I'm at work, but we're doing it ever so like in rotation, so I am seeing them a lot more during the week than I normally have.
So you're not with your family currently? No,
I won't be with them until tomorrow.
So those Ninja Turtle toys in the background, those are your toys. Those are not your boys.
That's right.
Those are still in the package. Those are from 1986, I bet.
That's right. Well, I remember one Christmas, I think it was 1989. This is when it was like big. It was the biggest thing ever. I don't know, I think I was a really good boy that year. Santa Claus brought me every single action figure out at the time inside of a huge Ninja Turtle trunk.
Oh, cool. Was it the pizza thrower?
Yep, that pizza thrower had the van in it. I had
April O'Neil's van. That's cool.
And the shredder's little drill machine.
Okay, yeah.
As a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, you don't keep them in the packages.
No.
They're all open. And then probably about 8, 9 years ago, I was like, I really wish I had not opened them, but I scoped out online and found one original, Krang the Brain over there.
Wow.
It's the one from when it first was produced.
Yeah.
The Shredder and the Splinter are reproductions, but they look exactly the same, but they're not.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I am a huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fan. My nephew just had his 5th birthday, and I got him. Do you remember those color forms? They were like backdrops that you could put stickers on, but the stickers are removable and reusable, which is cool. So it's almost like you create scenes with stickers. And then I got him a Ninja Turtles watch, and I think I was more geeked up about both than he was. But I heard that he watches, on YouTube now, you can go back and watch the old cartoons. And so kids today can re-experience what we were watching when they were being released, right?
Right.
What I'd like you to do is anyone who's interested in the audience in either writing a book or the process behind it, right? So
Right.
take us from concept to actually writing the book, finding a publisher, an illustrator, and ultimately its release. Kind of, if you can color that in for us.
Well, starting off with the writing process is something that my method is probably different some other people, but this is how I go with the whole concept. Is if I feel like it's a really good idea or I'm really interested in it, I start writing it down. I start plotting out character names. I don't necessarily have to know the exact story. I just write down the character names, some events that they had, and start to plug it in. Like I'm like a jigsaw puzzle. I put the pieces together. I don't like to try to make the whole puzzle. It goes like this. I go all over the place. I just tell my mind works. But
Mm.
put down all the characters pop in your head. Put in names, places, settings. Write it all out, and then start putting it together. And then understand where you want the characters to go. Like I think we mentioned earlier, the character art. Like what journey do you want them to take? How are they going to transform from point A to point B or Z, wherever they're going?
Hmm.
Show the change. Show the conflict. Who's your good guy, who's your bad guy, and what do they have in common, and what separates them. And you push all that, you can really get your story going.
Yeah.
And then once you get that going, you want to look at a publisher. You can get an agent. You can go self-publishing.
Yeah, I saw that you had two. You kind of were seeking out, and you landed with two, and then you had to decide between those. And there was a reason you went with. Help me out. What's the name of the publisher?
The name of the publisher I went with was Archway Publishing.
Archway. Yeah. Can you tell us, what makes a good publisher in your opinion?
Well, a good publisher is somebody that's going to put it out there on a large scale for you. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you options and opportunities to strategies of how you can get your book out there, and also give you access to platforms to get you there. So, like my website, straight out, that's worked with Archway Publishing for that. Marketing on social media.
Mm-hmm. So they did all that for you. That's part of the package.
Get part of the package. They also will take care of your ISBN number. They'll also help you get your copyright with the Library of Congress. They'll work on the things that you don't necessarily know all the ins and outs on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to go to a publisher because if they know what they're doing and they're upfront about how much royalties go to you, how much royalties, what time period, how when you get paid, is it every 3 months, what quarter? They're really good about laying it all out for you if you're a new time author trying to get published. If you want to just publish, you can just publish anywhere. I think there's a platform, you just go to the website and do it. But if you want to use a publisher that has connections in the business, I recommend doing that. If you want to get serious and go to the next level. But
now, did they help you seek out an illustrator, or did you have someone you really liked that was going to literally take your awesome story and bring it to life? Because that's a huge part of it. If it doesn't look the way, so how much creative process was there where you were saying, this is what I want this character to look like, I want this?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of friends that are artists, and I reached out to them, and they just didn't have the time or couldn't see with the vision I had. So I reached back out to my publisher, and they have an illustration team, and they had that team work on what I had in mind. I was actually more descriptive on telling them what the characters need to look like in the scenes than the entire book. So, like, it is when you don't have the skill or the talent to draw, I can tell you got to be able to
articulate it.
More. Like you have to be so detailed.
Yeah, I think they did a great job. The pictures that I saw of the book look fantastic. I'm going to put it up right now as we're talking about it. It's going to be on the screen, so anyone watching this on YouTube or on Instagram or Facebook, you guys can see it there, or on Twitter as well. Awesome illustrations, cool story. I'm looking forward to reading it with Isabel as well. And here's a cool story that I saw. So you sent Dolly Parton a signed copy of your book, and you thanked her for being a great inspiration as an actress, musician, entrepreneur, and philanthropist.
Yes.
Tell us the story behind that, and then how did she respond?
Well, I always admired Dolly Parton. I've always admired how strong she is and what she believes in, and being true to herself.
Mm-hmm.
Always admired that. Loved her music. I'm not a big country fan, but I've always been drawn to her music. I think it's just to the words that she writes, and you can feel it through the song.
Mm.
And she's very multi-talented. I mean, she's been in movies where she's been nominated for Academy Awards, and she does a great service to many children all over the world with her imagination library.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids have benefited from that. And I just wanted to reach out to her. So
tell us about that program. I saw you mentioned that like they send a book out to you.
Yeah, she does a program where she sends out free books to people in need to help out, weed out illiteracy.
Yeah.
Her father couldn't read well, or he couldn't read at all, and she did in honor of him to make sure that other people that are not as privileged as us with education or resources to receive books and just have them have an interest and a desire and passion to read.
Yeah.
And she's been doing this for years. And she's sent millions of books around the world, and anybody can sign up for it. I think you can go to any library, go to her website.
I'm going to put it in. I'll research it and see what it is, what the website is, and I'll put it in here. So anybody with kids that are looking for that access and, to help out, that's fantastic. Yeah. So you send out this signed copy of your book as a thank you. And I know how the story ends, but share with our audience what happens next.
Well, I sent many books out to a lot of people that I admire, and she was the only one to send me some back, and I didn't expect anything back. Anyway, it's like in the book, I'm putting stuff out into the universe, and something will come back, and I'm just going to be patiently waiting. And then out of nowhere, I think I wasn't even at home. My wife calls me. It's like, why do you have?
Oh man, it had to be
because she did, because it had an imagination library or station library. So we get the kids' books. She opens it up and says, "Why do you have a picture signed by Dolly Parton?" So I had to tell her what I did. I thought I did, but maybe she didn't hear me or think I was serious. But she took the time. You can actually tell. I actually have the picture if you want me to go get it and show you.
I'll put it up. You have it shared on your Instagram, so I'll actually show it on the screen here.
It's actually her signature. It's not one of those pictures where you just print out. It's actually her handwriting. So I just thought that was amazing that she, in midst of all the things she has going on in her life, that it got to her and that she did that. So just even more respect for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's cool, and wanted to do a shout out. Anytime we have something on the show that I can, some positive energy, right? There's so much with the news, and you read this and it's like, it can really bog you down. You can start your day with a positive mentality, and by the end of it, if you're tuned into the wrong channels and you're putting the wrong things in your brain, man, you can really be winded by the end of the day, just crawling, looking for something positive. So anytime there's a cool story like that, I always love to shine light on it. And so are you ready here? Are you ready to hold up to your self-proclaimed movie trivia wizard status here? Are you ready?
I'm ready as I can be.
All right, cool. So let's see if we can stump you here. And again, you agreed if you get less than 7 correct that you're going to hook Isabel up with a signed copy of Saving Forest Farm. So this is all a fun little contest here. Okay. I'll run right through these questions. And I wish we were doing live where I can check the comments to see if anybody can get it for you, but not doing these live quite yet. I'm thinking about doing that in the near future. Is actually I have some software where I can do these live and make it look really cool for a broadcast. But question number 1, what was the first feature-length animated movie ever released? You know the answer?
You say full length or just animated movie?
It's the first feature-length animated movie ever released.
I have to say it's I can't remember the name, but it's the Mickey Mouse movie.
The original Mickey Mouse. He had a different name.
I don't know. Something about Steamboat Mickey, maybe.
Steamboat, yeah.
But I think I would say Cinderella. Not Cinderella. Snow White would be the.
Snow White is the answer. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, I could have been tough. I could have said nope, that's wrong. But I knew where you were going. But the key here is feature length. Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs is the answer. How about this? What flavor of Pop-Tarts does Buddy the Elf use in his spaghetti in Elf? I'm talking Elf, the Christmas movie with Will Ferrell.
Elf. Okay, I thought you meant Elf
not the old alien Elf. Talking ELF, Elf with Will Ferrell. So he's putting, something on Pop-Tarts. Do you remember what flavor that was when he's putting it in the spaghetti? Or actually, the question is, what flavor Pop-Tarts does Buddy the Elf use in his spaghetti?
I'm going to say strawberry.
Incorrect.
Okay.
Chocolate.
Yes. Right. Okay.
So you got one right, one wrong. Who played park owner John Hammond in Jurassic Park, which is one of my favorite movies?
His name in real life?
Yeah.
I know that actor very well. I don't know why. I can't remember his name. I'm going to have to say...
We're going to miss?
Yeah, I think it's a miss.
Richard Attenborough.
Okay.
All right, this one should be pretty easy to get here. What, or I should say, for what movie did Steven Spielberg win his first Oscar for Best Director?
Yeah, because there's 3 movies that won Oscars that he directed early on.
Mm-hmm.
For Best Director, though, I'm going to say Schindler's List.
That's correct.
I was thinking Color Purple, but I think everybody else won it except him.
Yeah. Good guess there. That's accurate. Now, what is the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time?
Say Deadpool.
Not correct. Joker, but it was similar. It had that comic book feel to it.
Yeah.
So, all right, so what are we looking at here? We got 2 right and 3 wrong. So Isabel's doing good so far. I picked some that were, because I looked at, there's 100 that I found, and some of them were super, super easy, like Rosebud and like just lines from movies that pretty much anybody who's seen them could go back and, say the line from a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to pick some that were popular, yet maybe like that one, Joker. I did not think that would be the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time, but I know it did. Obviously, it really crushed. I mean,
yeah.
Shout out to another vegan.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix, one of my favorite actors of all time. He's the man. Love him.
He's a great character actor.
Which movie was incorrectly announced as the winner of Best Picture in the 2017 Academy Awards during the greatest Oscars flub of all time?
That would be La La Land.
That is accurate.
I remember watching that live. I was like, what is going on?
3 for 3. 3 for 3. Which 1948 Alfred Hitchcock movie starred James Stewart and was shot to look like it was one continuous take? I took film classes in college, so I remember learning about this movie, and I still have not watched it. But it's pretty cool. It's one continuous take, although it's actually 10 takes where they cut it in a way that, like, they'll zoom into the back of someone's jacket and they'll come back out, and it looks like it's the camera's still doing one take.
Perfect. Hitchcock was just a genius.
He is. Yeah, it was really well done.
I'm going to say Vertigo.
Vertigo is not correct. It was Rope. All right. 3 correct, 4 wrong. We're getting close here. Close to the end.
You're doing really good with these questions.
What is the name of Quint's? This is easy. Everyone knows this. Quint's shark hunting boat in Jaws. What's the name of the boat? All right. I'm going to say no.
Lucy.
What is it?
Lucy.
Lucy, no. The Orca is the answer.
Yes.
Yep. Written on there, right? Am I right with that? I feel like my memory tells me that it's actually written right on it. Who plays the unsinkable Molly Brown in the movie Titanic?
Kathy Bates.
Correct. All right, we got one more left. I think we got you stumped here. 1, 2, 3, 4. If you get this right, you only got 5 right. So I'll give you my address off camera. We'll get it squared away. But last question is, which famous film composer wrote the, I think you're going to nail this one. Who wrote the music for Tim Burton's 1989 Batman? He's a famous composer, especially in the 90s, he was popular.
Yeah.
Comic books, superhero movies. Great composer. I always loved John Williams. I'm going to tell you it's not John Williams, so there's a hint.
Yeah.
But I'd say he, in my opinion, is second second in line with fantastic scorers.
I'm gonna say Horner.
Nope, it's Danny Elfman.
Yes, Danny Elfman.
Danny Elfman, yeah.
Did
I
like
think he
not
also did Pee-wee's Big Adventure, possibly, and a few of those other quirky movies from the 90s. So we're going to get right back to a few more questions. We got a few minutes left. So you ended up getting 1, 2, 3, 4 correct total.
Wow.
So
You did a really good job of scoping them out.
I wanted to find things that were popular movies, yet it wasn't like, I did a little bit of hunting for you. I had to stump it for Isabel, I couldn't keep it too simple.
You did good. Did good.
So this one you should be able to answer this one correctly. I got one more question. So what is your favorite movie and why?
My favorite movie? It's really difficult when you love movies. It's really difficult to say which one's your most favorite. For me, though, I have many different reasons why I like different movies, but
what about just from an entertainment standpoint? Like you want to put something on, it's just great, entertaining, awesome story. What are you going to put on?
I would say Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Awesome. Yeah, that's definitely
every time it's on TV, I have to watch it. It's just amazing acting, amazing story.
Great story, yeah, for sure. It's just one of those classic movies, feel good.
I hope they never remake. I just think it's perfect the way it is.
Yeah, I saw that they were thinking about it, but I agree with that. You don't want to mess with it, right?
Right.
It's kind of interesting in that movie they had was it Biff basically was it part 3 where he becomes like he's this largely famous, I don't know if he actually is president, but he has like the tower, and it's basically kind of like they're not saying it's Trump, but it very much feels like Trump. But I believe he becomes president. Is that right?
That's the second one.
That's part 2. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of funny that like the movie predicts like this Biff character that's kind of like Trump that gets into that role, and then Trump actually goes and does it in the future.
And they almost predicted the Cubs winning the World Series. They got to the playoffs that year that they said they would win it, but then it wasn't until the next year the Cubs actually won the World Series.
Right. Was that like 16, 17, somewhere around there? Yeah. And we also hit the date a few years ago of Back to the Future. It was October. I forget the exact date, but I want to say it was 2013, possibly. I'll put it up on the screen here. But we hit it. The date that they go, the furthest they went into the future, we already lived it.
I think, it was mid teens.
Yeah, I want to say it was 2013, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy to think, like when in 1985, when they're writing it and directing it, they're like, "Oh, this crazy date in the future," and here we are.
Say it's even creepier. The Simpsons had more predictions come true.
Simpsons, yeah. Matt Groening, right? He nailed it. He got a lot of things accurate. So, what's one skill that you learned during this crazy quarantine? Is there something that you said, "Hey, you know what? I'm walking away. This is a crazy situation, but I'm grateful for this one thing," or I learned this one skill?
I learned that what's most important in my life, because a lot of us had our work stop or not in the same capacity that we were normally used to, the normal.
Sure.
Know what's important, and it's what I always knew, but I just my family. I learned a skill, just be a better dad.
Be more present, right?
Yeah, be more present. And I was getting to that point anyway, and it's just weird how something like this happened, and it just, I don't know, it could be a very big blessing in disguise.
Yeah, it's kind of a kick in the butt a little bit. Like, hey, think, and I always reflect in gratitude, but a lot of times, it takes getting shaken up to think about it even a bigger picture, like how everything comes together, and just being grateful for those little things. Hanging out and having a cup of coffee with someone at a coffee shop and catching up is nothing to make a big deal about. But right now, that feels pretty welcoming, just to go out and do something that simple. Who's your biggest influence, either now or growing up? And that could be like, an author or someone that you tune into.
Well, an author would be, I love Tolkien. from Lord of the Rings. His writing, he was a big influence on just fantasy and weird characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's up from an artist standpoint or author standpoint. That would be the person that I enjoyed and was influenced by.
Cool.
But as a person, I would say that I had a close family, well, not necessarily family member, felt like family. As my friend's father, he really helped me out through a lot of tough times, and he really it was kind of he was more so the Ralphie Rat of my story.
Okay.
Pushed me to go out and do what I need to do.
Yeah.
He's passed in I think 2012. So there's a lot of things I want to do to remember him from what he meant for me.
Yeah.
Of course, also my mother influenced a lot. I had a job since I was 12, so she helped teach me a good work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Work hard and give it your best, no matter
What
what.
were you doing at age 12?
Well, I started off working with my brother-in-law. I worked at a video store. That's how I got before the internet. That's how I watched movies. I worked a little on chicken farm, but when my mother had me work with her at a restaurant in our town.
Cool.
For 7 years, 7 long years. So instead of getting into trouble, going hanging out like a normal teenager would, I worked. So
Yeah, you learn responsibility.
it was responsibility, and she put a lot of trust in me. And not too many parents will give their child or help them. It wasn't her credit card, but she set up where I got my own credit card and helped me have that, I guess, that responsibility to go out and be responsible myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been late on a payment, never drawn interest. I still have that credit card from 20-something years ago.
Wow, that's really a cool story, man.
Yes, just instilling me that responsibility to be a responsible adult and to work hard.
Mm.
And it's never left me. So I always appreciate
I
it.
love that, man. I love it. Why? I know I kind of asked you about the inspiration behind the story, but just in the things that you do, your current work, your book writing, your creative. If you had to say like tie it down to a why or a passion behind it, what would you say the number one reason for your purpose is?
My purpose would be to inspire others,
Mm-hmm.
show improvement. I think my entire life has always been making a better version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been somebody that, I mean, now that people don't know where I came from or how I've struggled or how I came to do things, think I just been able to do this my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't. I've had to have some hard struggles. I've had siblings that I learned from their mistakes. Luckily enough that they did it before I did, and I got to see what to do and not to do.
Yeah.
Just fight through the pain, fight through the struggles, and I think that I enjoy having more of a comeback or overcoming something than just having something given to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think my purpose is just to show them to appreciate the moment, be humble in what you get, and make the best of what you have.
Yeah, it always is more rewarding when you feel that, actually experience that fight for it. If you're gifted something, you appreciate it, you're grateful for it. But when you fought hard for something, right? Like for 7 years working with your mom and you made a little bit of an allowance and learned responsibility, when you had something, you at the end of the day, you appreciated it more to earn it than you did just like if she gave you $50 a week. Well, you know what? You earned it by cleaning the tables and doing whatever you were doing there. You appreciated that money and you probably didn't want to spend it as easily as your buddies who would have just gotten $20 from their mom and it was gone because they rented, 6 movies. you would appreciate it a lot better. This is probably the toughest question I'm going to ask you. So those trivia questions are nothing compared to this one, but if you can be known for one thing, what would it be?
Be known for respect.
Respect.
I'm somebody that I give. I mean, let's say respect is earned, not given.
Correct.
However, if you have gotten my respect, it will carry. If you do nothing to hurt that respect, you will have a great relationship with me and have my support 100%. So I think respect is my number one thing.
If you can leave our audience with a message to be brave and bold in pursuit of their dreams, which is my show mission, what would that be?
To never give up.
Mhm.
I believe, and from my experience, is that you already know what you want to do, even if you're 5 years old.
Mm.
It's just when you learn and you interact with people and people start telling you different things, and you might see it might be a little bit more difficult than you thought. But I feel if you have a passion, a desire to do it when you're young, you can do that when you get older. You just need
Yes.
to keep the confidence and you keep working at it, and it will come. Like it's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, it will come.
Yeah.
If you won't build it, if it does come, you're just a lucky person.
I think it's great to remember that I actually asked my last guest, and the last person I interviewed, his release didn't come out yet. But I asked him, what his 10-year-old self would think of him, right? Because he's very successful in this industry. But I think, the reason I asked that is I feel like when we're 10, we have a very solid foundation of like what a dream would look like. We want to be a ball player. We want to be the next Steven Spielberg. We want to work with mom in a restaurant, own a restaurant someday. There's some kind of planted dream where I feel like at 10 years old, you have an understanding of the world enough where you start thinking about a career, even though it's very, very, you don't understand all the responsibilities of life yet. Of course, you're 10, but it's that dream factor, right? And I think too many people, they turn 21, milestone birthday, right? Now it's all about responsibility and making something of yourself after you graduate school. You got all these loans. Most people end up with all these student loans. Now it's about paying those off. And then you start to lose that desire and that dream. You might get married, you might have children, you might be 10 jobs later. You turn around, it's like that little light that was lit in the 10-year-old's heart. I feel we all need to reflect on that. And that's, I feel like, who we are as a person. I think it's really determined that young. And I'm not saying other passions and dreams don't come out later in life and you learn different things. And as a father, I have a totally different look on the world now than I did when I was a single guy. But I feel that people need to get back to their roots and listen to what's inside their heart. And a lot of my guests have mirrored that thought. And I think you just hit it on the head there too. Is don't give up on your dream, right? Keep pushing forward and continue to tie it back to the reasons why you do it in the first place.
Right.
Now this I'm gonna say, I want to answer this for you, but you have 3 beautiful kids and a beautiful wife, right? Let's call that your family, because this next question is list 3 things that you're most grateful for. Right. I wouldn't want to leave out anybody in your family, list them 1, 2, 3, but let's call your family one group. Right. So if you're going to list 3 things that you're most grateful for, I don't want to answer for you. What would that be?
Grateful that I have a humble beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That has made me a stronger person.
Wow.
I'm grateful that I do take risk, even though if you met me, I'm a very safe person on a lot of things, but
Sure.
I take risk and I put myself out there. I'm grateful that I have that ability to do that, had that confidence. I'm taking it as that I don't put, my family's already at the top, right?
Sure. Well, I didn't want to put it there for you, but sounds to me like you already have done that.
Yeah, I have to put them in there.
Yeah.
Those 2 things.
I knew that. Off camera, like we had that conversation, and I see it like again in your bio. Your family's mentioned everywhere. That anywhere that acknowledges your career, you have tagged them as part of the reason for your success, right?
Right. They
I think
continue.
that's a great, such a takes a lot of maturity to come up with what you said first. Though is you actually appreciate that you had, I don't want to call it rough, but a humble beginning. And a lot of people, it's like they want to get away from it, and you embraced it as it was a shaper. It was a life shaper for you, right? Character, built a lot of character, and so now you're reflecting back, and you have a great appreciation for it. Anything else you'd like to leave our audience with before we head out of here?
Just be yourself.
Be yourself, man.
That's why you're put on this earth, to be you.
I love this quote. It's be yourself. Everyone else is taken.
That's right. They are.
Brother, thank you so much, man. The book, again, guys, you can get it at jackpurser.com. The links are right on there. You can check it out at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Once the quarantine's lifted, if you got little kids, you can go find it at the bookstore. jackpurser.com, P-U-R-S-E-R, and on Instagram and also on Facebook, Saving Forest Farm. That's the name of the book, and you can search it and find him right there. Jack Purser, thank you so much for being here, brother.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you having me on.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Mic'd Up. I wanted to showcase here that Jack Purser is a man of his word. He delivered with a copy here, a personalized copy of Saving Forest Farm for my daughter Isabel. We enjoyed reading it together, and I just wanted to show you, total class act. Jack signed it himself with a personalized note to Isabel, and we wanted to showcase Trevor Turtle, right? Trevor Turtle is the hero of the show that helps everybody out. We wanted to showcase him in the story. His artwork is amazing as well. The story is really well done. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Jack, for being here today, sharing your story, inspiring our audience. Again, you guys can get Saving Forest Farm at Amazon or anywhere really that books are sold. Isabel, anything you want to show off too?
Yeah.
Got your new squishy toy?
Squishy.
What animal is that?
It's a sloth.
Ooh, she's got a sloth.
Sloths.
Two sloths. She wanted to showcase that because we were talking about animals this week, and I thank you for doing that. Are you so happy that you have a new book to read too? We really enjoyed it, Jack. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you being here. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You can listen to the other episodes I have of Mic'd Up right at mikeduppodcast.com. It's M-I-K-E-D up podcast.com. We're powered by Social Chameleon. Guys, you can leave us a review on social media as well. You can do that right on the Apple Podcast app. We are also on Spotify and YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. You guys know what to do. Be great and
Be grateful.
be grateful. Thank you so much for tuning in.